What was ruined? Because too many people did it. Craft fairs. Now they're crowded with dozens of MLM. I just want to find knitted slippers, made by an old lady, who clearly has a drinking problem. Not more Norwicks. My cousin sells Mary Kay, and always sets up a booth at craft fairs. She puts up signs, saying, "Support your small business." Huh? Cooking shows. It used to be a few talented chefs, who had shows to teach. Now it's every damn celebrity, who can, or cannot cook, making the same recipes, as everyone else. I miss the Food Network, back in the day, with Good Eats. Good Eats. Last night, I watched Season 1, Episode 1, of this, for the first time. What a different and informative tone, compared to present-day shows. The summit of Mount Everest is, like a trash heap now. You forgot to mention the fact, that it's basically a mass grave now, too. Fun stuff indeed. Honestly, if I was on a hiking trail, and I kept seeing unburied corpses, it would kind of kill the fun. Unburied corpses? You mean, colorful nylon road markers? Airbnb. Used to love Airbnb years ago. Now it's pricier than a lot of decent hotels, and some of the house rules are nutty. My friend gave me a discount coupon for one. I compared it to a local hotel, and the hotel was cheaper with less rules. My hotel doesn't expect me to leave the room in pristine shape. I leave the towels in the tub, and pick up all garbage, but I'm not expected to vacuum and dust. For real. I stayed at an Airbnb once, on a ski trip, and it was clearly the people's family home, so not like a random rental. We cleaned all the sheets/pillowcases/towels, wiped down countertops, ran the dishwasher, swept. Then we got a message from them. Because they were upset, we put a wooden spoon in the dishwasher. I guess, in the 40-page manual they left it said, not to. They couldn't believe we hadn't read the entire thing cover to cover, and on top of that, there are always crazy cleaning fees. Like, why am I paying a $150 cleaning fee, on top of cleaning your house? The Appalachian Trail. People leaving their trash everywhere, is really ruining the trail, and it's so effing crowded now. People who litter on trails, or campsites, or in general, annoy the F out of me. If you brought it in, you are fully capable of bringing it out. Do you actually like being out in nature, if you leave your trash in it? People are pigs. I work in a store, and people leave garbage, and half-eaten food sample stuff, in amongst the products. Adults blame kids, but there's no kid dull enough to reach the spots. I've found gross garbage. People could have a garbage can attached to their hip, and they'll still find a place on the ground to throw it. We used to be one of only a few people around bidding on storage lockers. It used to be a fun hobby I gave up on because it became too popular, and people are grossly overpaying for the lockers, which is oftentimes just paying to make a dump run for someone. My mom put all my stuff in a storage locker when I went abroad, and then lost it for not paying for 8 months and lying about it. I lost everything I owned since childhood, except for 2 suitcases of clothes I had brought with me to study abroad. All my photos, journals I had kept religiously since I was 5 years old, mementos, stories, poems, and paintings. Thousands of dollars of rare books. Stuff I hope to digitize and or give to my kids someday. I tried to find out what happened to my stuff after I found out what happened, but whoever bought the unit threw everything away. Now when I see ads for those shows, I just feel sick to my stomach. Thrift shopping. Yup. 15 years ago, the prices were so cheap, and you could always find a gem. Now, they're always crowded, and everything is overpriced, and you might find something good once every 2 to 3 visits, if you're lucky. I blame the online sellers. Our local thrift stores have people who go in when they open and drop a few $100s on stuff and resell it on the Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, etc. It's not just thrift stores either. They do it at all the local discount stores. Retail arbitrage is the new entrepreneur. Streaming services. I miss the days of one single service, Netflix. Now every studio has its own service and holds their stuff away from services like Netflix and Hulu. Direct consequence, too many subscriptions. At this point, it's more economical to buy stuff you want to watch. This is why people resort to pirating. Maybe a little weird, but I miss the early days of Netflix, when they'd ship you DVDs with the return shipping label. My habit was to watch the movie, then if it was actually good, the next night, I'd watch the extras, like the director and cast commentary. As far as I know, you can't stream that stuff. It was really great for classic stuff like the Kurosawa films. The DVD extras had a film scholar talking about the cinematography techniques invented while making those movies, etc. Geeky stuff, but that's what I'm into. In my dorm room, there was a vending machine that with just the perfect push of the button, would dispense 2 Sprites. For a few of us, it lasted around 6 months. Then they fixed the machine, after one loose lip led to another. Open lips, snatch sips. Oh yeah. We had 5-cent peanut M&Ms in our vending machine at work, until someone blabbed. That took me back a few years. We had Clicks vending machines put in at work, and they had free vend for water. If you pressed the water button, then immediately pressed what you wanted, you got the second drink for free. Worked great, until they changed the machines. Driving to work early. I used to do it, but now it's the same as morning rush hour. Just go earlier, and skip sleep. Driving in general, honestly. I love to drive, when it's just me on the road, but it's getting to the point now, that I hate driving in general, because it seems like, no matter where I go or what I do, there's always someone on the road, who's trying to kill me. Constantly having to watch for, and anticipate the dangerous actions of 50+ idiots, all clustered around me, is my least favorite part of the day. Honestly, I would guess, that the daily commute, is probably the most dangerous thing most people do, in their day-to-day lives. Festivals. I used to enjoy going to some local festivals. Now, they're just overcrowded and expensive. I can only afford festivals I play at, now. But I live in rural PA in the area, and the well-seasoned festy kids, are throwing dirt fests on their property with local talent, and those have been so much more fun, and it really brings in, the music and art community. Havasupai Falls in Arizona. Went back in the early 2000s, and it was nice and little to no trash. Now all these F-heads, have trashed the park, and overcrowded it, for a effing Instagram post, making wait times ungodly long. I hold great anger towards people, that litter in cities, but I get enraged at dipshits, that litter in parks. Like WTF is wrong with you people? Clean up your shit. And for those who actually care, please bring a waste bag, and we can start cleaning up after these F-sticks. Havasupai is ruined. I am not sure what will happen, when they reopen in the end of May 2023. If I remember correctly, the 3-night camp permit, costs $750, per person. Therefore, it's not just a-holes, but rich a-holes, who ruined it. There's so many things and places, most people didn't know about, prior to Instagram, and influencers visiting and taking photos there. Think Manhattanhenge in NYC, used to be a cool phenomenon, only cared about, or noticed by some, but now everyone and their mother, comes outlining, and blocking the streets, for something that was once a, hey, look at that, that's interesting, kind of thing. Now it's just kind of goofy. I thought Manhattanhenge was cool the first time I saw a photo. Then I saw 500 more of the exact same photo. Really takes away, from it being a neat phenomenon. Especially now, where everyone's photos have 50 other people in front of them, also holding up their phones. Etsy, it's all resellers, that run fake craft stores, selling cheaply made junk. There's a handful of crafters on Etsy, and the rest is Amazon resellers, and cheap shiny stuff. I've also noticed, that Etsy is getting oversaturated with, unoriginal, girl who owns a cricket, businesses. I know so many people, who make mama bear shirts, and live laugh love tumblers, as a side hustle. Oh my god, I know 4 girls on Facebook, from high school, that started this, and then complain, when no one buys their stuff. It has replaced the MLM posts. Subscription everything, especially software. I want to buy Office or AutoCAD one time, and use it for a decade. I don't want to buy it, every year. A lovely counterexample is, DaVinci Resolve. It's a serious video editing package used on proper films, and there's a free as in beer version, and a paid-for version. The free version, limits you to 4K timelines, presumably because, if you're cutting higher resolutions than that, you're making a proper film, and can afford it, and doesn't have some of the fancier effects, and neural engine processing, that the paid-for one has, but other than that, there are no limitations. You can use the free one commercially, for as long as you like. A license for the paid-for one is about 300 quid, and also comes free with some of the hardware they produce. Once you've got your license, that's it. It'll work on all the versions, up to the current one. There's nothing that explicitly says they'll never ask you to pay to upgrade, but they haven't yet. I think their business model is getting the enthusiastic amateur market using it, and the few that go on to a career in filmmaking will then just go out and buy themselves a remarkably inexpensive, £6,000 or so, digital cinema camera from BMD, and base their studio around all the control panels you can buy for it. Kind of like, we'll give it away for free, because we know you're going to buy it next week, anyway. I haven't bought it yet, but it's on my list for early next year, because I want some of the cleanup and scaling tools that only work in studio. Whatever the hot new tourism spot is. For example, my grandfather used to spend weekends in Nashville, when it was a more down-to-earth low-key town. Now it's one of the hottest travel destinations, and is just swamped everywhere. Any place that has a bumper sticker that says, "Keep X weird," I automatically assume they're just banking on the copy-paste tourist crap every other city does. College, almost guaranteeing a good job and career. It is not the ticket it used to be. Oversaturated. Nowadays, a bachelor's degree is like a high school diploma. Except you pay $50,000 for it. And now you understand the point. 8 cents worth of paper with $1's worth of gold leaf does not a career make. Now, instead of me simply knowing what I know, and that being good enough to get a job, you have to have waste 4+ years of your life, and tens of thousands of dollars, for nothing more than the hope, the chance at a job. And even if you get that silly piece of paper with your name on it, unless you're in with the dean, or some other bigwig, it'll amount to nothing. The worst part is, companies don't even care anymore. It's up there with reliable transportation on the application. It's just expected. Not because it proves you can do the job, but because it proves you can finish something. It's gambling, aimed at people too young to know any better. Flying drones. Thanks to all the idiots doing dumb shit with them, it's not even worth getting into the hobby nowadays. You pretty much can't fly anywhere worth flying, need all sorts of permits, are constantly risking hefty fines, or even being investigated for terrorism. No thanks. YouTube. I miss the days of amateur videos. Classic smosh. Crappy, but still sent, entertaining music videos of video games. Actual real reactions that didn't feel like a fake, acted out script. Now, everything is about fitting into the algorithm, likes and subscriptions, obnoxious influences. YouTube is all clean, square, corporate, and sanitized. I won't deny, there is also really good content to be found, as well, but it's mixed in with a lot of crap. Writing children's books. Used to be an art form, then, every celebrity has written one. More like, every celebrity has paid a ghostwriter to write one for them. I feel like, whenever an agent needs to drum up work for their client, they suggest a children's book. They put them in touch with whoever, and 6 months later, it's out on shelves. Visiting major historical sites. Most of them have been turned into badly maintained, super expensive tourist traps. Add in the trash and damages tourists do, and yikes. Gettysburg is one of those places. Within the last decade or so, a lot of the museums have closed, only to be replaced by ghost tour companies, wineries, and breweries. I'd guess, at least a quarter, if not more, of the local economy comes from ghost tours and alcohol. It is not the same town it once was. There's been a counter-movement in the past few years, to be honest. Sure, you can still catch a ghost tour, or buy a touristy t-shirt, if you want. But as far as history, it's everywhere in that town. The Seminary Ridge Museum, the Gettysburg Museum of History, and the soon-to-be-opened, brand-new, Adams County Historical Society Museum, are all amazing places to visit, independent of the battlefield. If you haven't been to those places, I'd recommend them. We had an amazing Halloween house in our small town, walking distance from my place. Every year, the family who owned it would bring in Hollywood-level props and lighting, and 10 or so actors, in full regalia, to replicate a Pirates of the Caribbean scene, all around the property. The Jack Sparrow was a dead ringer for Johnny Depp. Every kid would get a bag full of real candy, not the mini Halloween stuff. Unfortunately, people started coming from other towns, and it turned into a mob scene, to the point that cops had to direct traffic, and they shut it down. When I was young, We had this tradition before our city's yearly festival started. We would each get a rubber boat, anything that floated, really, and just drift in a nearby lake, while drinking beer. The drift took around an hour, or so. Then, we would go to the festival. Started out, with maybe 20 to 30 of us, for a couple of years. Then some douchebag popular guy, took note of it. Had to turn it into some massive event, with musicians playing, and calling for the media to come there, etc. Just turned a chill event with friends, to something, where you couldn't hear your own thoughts, because there were so many people there. They even had to close it down after a while, because some of the visitors littered too much, left their boats, and shit in the river, etc. Same thing happened in a university town not that far from us. Some students started a festival, where we played a more relaxed form of baseball. Sign up as a team, play a tournament, first prize was like a bottle of vodka, or some shit like that. Completely free of charge. We slept in tents and drank, super chill and fun thing. In comes the capitalist mind. Turns the whole thing into some commercialized shit show, where it's now the World Championship tournament of that casual baseball. Huge entry fees, beer tents, artists. Like man. What's wrong with setting up a tent, drinking a couple of beers, playing baseball drunk, and just having a good time? No, we need to capitalize on this. Made both of those things boring as hell. Undergraduate degrees. We're experiencing a strange educational inflation, where most jobs now require some form of higher education that previously didn't. I'm not suggesting education is necessarily a bad thing, by any means, but it certainly drives a greater division between those that do and don't go. It's used to be a 30-70 split, and now it is 80-20, as to the percentage of people that go and those that don't. A striking difference. As someone who previously worked at Starbucks, I was floored when I found out that to be hired as a manager, you need a bachelor's degree, and they pay you $20 whole an hour. Then corporate stands around and wonders why no one wants to work there. I graduated college in 2003, and have a distinct memory from graduation, looking around at the others receiving degrees, and thinking, I know a lot of these people. They're effing morons. I have the same degree as them? That doesn't seem very fair or promising. Everything that has to do with true crime. Some years ago, it was not popular at all, and you had to search for any documentary or website. Now there are extra TV channels, podcasts, magazines, everything. And everyone is an expert. What also bothers me now is how serial killers are now celebrities. I get that they're fascinating in a way, and what goes into them, and their stories, etc., etc. But people having serial killer themed parties and stuff. Bit much. Was a huge true crime fan. I have a bookshelf dedicated to all the true crime books I own. I would have to scour garage sales, markets, thrift stores, and occasionally bookstores to find them. Now I turn on Netflix, and bam, 300 true crime stories at my fingertips. Really took the fun out of it, really fast, especially since I already know all the details. What bugs me more is, they waffle on for over an hour or more to tell a very simple story. They literally have dozens of detectives, family members, people involved in the search, etc. Retell the same thing over and over, until they finally reveal who the offender was. It's boring as hell, and has really killed the passion for me. It's like, every man and woman alive, all of a sudden are into true crime. Oh, and I hate how everyone becomes an expert after they watch a highly dramatized rendition of a true crime event, like the popular Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series that came out. You can tell people details that were left out of the movie, because you have read multiple books about his crimes, but they argue with you, because they saw the movie, and it didn't have that fact, or detail, in it. Gatekeeping. It was so much better when only a few of us did it. In this same vein, there's a lot of properties that I wish never got as popular as they did. One of the ones that comes to mind isn't a property per se, but SCP. It's always had a big following, but not by internet standards, and now, whenever I go looking for some new cool or spooky thing, I find that it's all been watered down to the same 30 marketable entities. Apple picking. Orchards used to involve parking on a dirt lot, climbing trees to get the best fruit, and paying per bag. Visiting a farm. That's it. Now there's admission, paid parking, say rides, food stands, live music, photo taking areas, etc. Feels like a tourist trap. Because it is. And at most places, you can't even pick your own apples anymore. Because too many people ruin trees by not being careful climbing them. Farmers markets. Now they're full of random people selling really weird shit and try to hold you captive, almost, and crazy people doing shows as they make them. I just want to buy my things in peace without being harassed. Or buy good coffee without people there for the aesthetic. Some of them border on being a full-blown carnival. I just want local produce. The minority of the vendors are the actual farmers these days. Most are a mix of local businesses trying to talk you into crap, like massages, or people selling homemade dog biscuits. I'm just there for the vegetables and maybe some popcorn. I don't need your weird health food gummies. Nurse practitioners. It was meant for experienced nurses with decades of experience in one field to act as physician extenders. Now, a bunch of 21 years olds, recently graduated with a BScN, directly go into part-time online NP schools, and then go to become dangerous clinicians and prescribers that push for independent practice when they have a fraction of the supervised clinical experience and rigor that MD/do physicians do. I think this is driven a lot by the profit-seeking healthcare in the US. They don't want to pay for doctors, so they go a tier lower that they can get away with. Facebook. I remember back when it was invite-only, and you had to be part of a network. We sincerely used it to post pictures and create events. Then everyone and their mom joined, and the timeline was created, and everything was just awful. I remember being on Facebook when it was colleges only, and you could only connect with those who had a school email or attended that institution. It was huge when we were finally able to connect with our friends at other universities. Moving out to the country. Traffic used to be that one light that didn't cycle right. Now there's backups every day because they failed to upgrade the infrastructure. Urbanites spazzing out because they heard a gunshot from the farm down the street, calling the police because they saw a coyote and someone needs to do something about it. All of them putting 10,000 watts worth of lighting all around their house, completely washing out the night sky. Can't forget their board F trophies, breaking into garages and trespassing, and street racing on dark narrow country roads, because there's nothing else to do here. Oh, and there's been a couple murders now. Before all this, the last time we had one was in like the 60s. And the absolute freakouts over the weather. Yes, you move to a place that receives 2 to 4 feet of snow. Yes, sometimes the 2 feet falls in a day or two. Yes, you are now stuck until you hire someone to plow your driveway. Weather forecasters don't help. Winter storm warning, 1 to 2 inches will fall. You're all going to die, apparently. And y'all drive too damn fast for this little 2-lane, windy road.